A warm welcome back to the channel. In today's update, there's news surrounding a major aircraft order on the way, Airbus struggling to meet delivery targets for 2024, and Boeing resuming 737 production at a very critical point in its company. Beginning with that very plane maker, after successfully ending strike action, fresh plans are now underway to recommence production on the popular 737 program. The 737 MAX is the manufacturer's most successful aircraft available to operators. Unsurprisingly, it being a single-aisle, optimally built short-haul aircraft means it can be more widely adopted than, say, a 787, but it is an aircraft that has seen colossally low output levels right across 2024. That was heightened when more than 30,000 workers walked out on the job seeking better terms for their contracts. As production is slated again to recommence, the Federal Aviation Administration is reportedly not saying that it will lessen its grip on the plane maker by any means. That grip has prevented Boeing from increasing production by 38 monthly units. However, over the last year, the manufacturer hasn't even been able to reach these caps, as it deals with many other external problems. And as a result, increased oversight from the governing regulator is expected to continue because of those internal and external problems. While production levels won't be allowed to expand to Boeing's desired rates, the improvement following strike action will be more than visible. The FAA, though, needs to see improvements more broadly at the manufacturer and sustained improvement by them implementing and investing in new safety practices that do emphasize quality control, which has been amiss for some time now. The FAA has repeatedly stated that it will only allow production to increase once absolutely satisfied that Boeing has made strides in its recovery efforts, for fear that if it was to, say, allow the increase in overall production, it may undermine all the work that has already gone into rebuilding the plane maker in the last, say, 8 months. Analysts expect Boeing's recovery efforts will likely continue for at least the next 5 years. However, they've stated that it can be difficult to accurately forecast the long-term trajectory of the company's rebuild efforts. With 737 MAX production recommencing, it's an important step also to consider for airlines that are expecting to take delivery of this popular aircraft type to fuel not only their growth ambitions, but also ongoing replacement efforts. Over the last year, many airlines have openly sought compensation for MAX delays, while publicly discussing the impact that late deliveries are having on them. Allegiant Air has the plan to, say, retire the A320 family at specific times only because they need to align with the arrival of MAX planes. However, this has proved challenging considering their inability to forecast accurately when these 737 MAXs will be delivered. You then have Ryanair, who are cutting profit expectations and say that they will be getting fewer aircraft in the next couple of years, impacting growth objectives. Over to Airbus, who have announced their October deliveries, showing 62 jets were shipped off across its commercial airplanes division. Therefore, the total tally for 2024 has now reached 559, which is actually considerably lower than what Airbus would ideally like, and leaves them, if we take a look at their end-of-year targets, in a very difficult position to actually meet this. So at the end of 2023, Airbus made its intentions clear, as it always does, putting forward a forecast to the general public, including, of course, us aviation enthusiasts, of how many planes it wanted to ship off in the next year, that being this one, and it was hoping to reach 800. At that point, that was an increase of 80 units year over year from its 2023 forecast, and while there were some that were critical, Airbus was pretty sure that it was going to be able to achieve this. They hoped that in 2024, fundamental areas of the business would stabilize, allowing them to reach those forecasted targets. To reiterate, 800 units. Very early on in the year, though, it became apparent that those fundamental areas of the business that needed to calm down, that wasn't going to happen, and therefore the rate required to achieve the 800 deliveries across the calendar year became increasingly more unlikely. As a result, Airbus had to refine its overall estimates and reduced the yearly target from 800 to 770, that being 30 units. However, after October's results, even 770 does seem like a stretch. Therefore, in the last 2 months, Airbus would need to deliver 211 aircraft to meet its annual target, which will be an incredible challenge considering the plane maker's current operating climate. In the last few years, Airbus has, yes, enjoyed a very successful last few months of the calendar year, which has often aided it in, say, reaching or getting as close as possible to its goal. And sure, Airbus might get relatively close to 770, but if you ask analysts, they're expecting 750 to be considered a broad success. What this means is the plane maker is facing a colossal challenge to meet the revision now of the initial target. While things do seem to be improving, and that is absolutely encouraging to see, it will not be enough for things to recover for them to necessarily hit this target unless there is some kind of miracle. Remember, they would need to basically ship off 105 aircraft in November and December. So analysts, they're expecting further refinement to that yearly figure could come, or maybe Airbus will just let it slide. In terms of the month on a whole, it was largely led by the sale of 60 A321neos to Riyadh Air, that being a very exciting point of focus. Over to the final story that sits with China Airlines, who continue to reappear in the headlines for the same reason. That is because it is all in relation to an upcoming wide-body aircraft order, where after many delays, it does feel like we're inching closer and closer. Those delays stemmed from political tensions and so much more. After all, this would not be a cheap purchase. The prospective order is going to include next-generation widebodies, which means the deal at list price value is going to be pretty hefty, and furthermore, it's going to try and reshape China Airlines into future decades. First mentioned last year, the airline was said to be eyeing widebody options from Airbus and Boeing, with the 777X and A350-1000 up for grabs. Now, China Airlines, to a certain extent, is familiar with both. The A350-900 already flies, and the 777-300ER has been operating for some time, but is beginning to show signs of age, and if anything, this next aircraft purchase is going to help facilitate the replacement of this. Reuters is now reporting that China Airlines, amid delays, tensions, and more, is looking to finalize its eventual decision. Moreover, the purchase will not likely be influenced by one party or the other. What does this mean? Well, according to their reporting, China Airlines is looking to split the decision between Airbus and Boeing for high-capacity and long-haul aircraft. They wouldn't be the first company to do such a thing, although some, say, may advise against this. They would rather pick, say, just one aircraft type for commonality purposes, but each to their own. In the end, the decision is also arguably coming thanks to the recent presidential election in the United States. Why? Well, Taiwan wants to make sure it has good relations with the United States. So as a result, while last month the airline seemingly avoided stating that, say, the deal was resting on the ongoing political landscape, this would appear that it did play a part to a certain degree. With the A350-1000 and 777X now touted as the aircraft that they will choose, an order could be up to a reported 20 units, and you'd imagine it to be split right down the middle. The exact units, though, will be confirmed, obviously, when the deal is finalized, but it is a big one. Why? Well, like I said, it's going to help replace existing planes and aid fleet growth. And for reference, they fly 10 777-300ERs. So if they're looking at bringing in 20, obviously you will see a like-for-like replacement. But we're talking about these planes also giving China Airlines a great deal of opportunity to expand further in the future. And that is exciting to say the least. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care and be safe, and I will indeed see you tomorrow for your latest industry news.
And we'll fly.